Hello, everyone. Here's a common scenario in financial planning. You have P&L data in a table, account names as rows, values across the months, direct expenses, operating and non-operating items. All the right numbers, but no structure connecting them, just a flat list. What's missing is a way to organize these accounts into a hierarchy. That's exactly what Row Model does. It lets you build that hierarchy on top of your flat data, so subtotals and totals calculate automatically as the data changes. Here's what the same data looks like after Row Model is applied. A fuller P&L hierarchy with net profit and operating profit rolling up from their drivers, every subtotal calculated automatically as the data changes. Financial models of this size and complexity can be built the same way. In this video, we'll build a simpler version of that same structure, just enough to get gross profit rolling up from its drivers. And even that alone comes together in a fraction of the time it would take in a spreadsheet. Let's open Model Builder. From the Model tab, select Row Model and click Enable. This brings up the canvas where we'll build our basic P&L model. We start by deleting the flat list of P&L items in order to build the model from scratch. Once the canvas is cleared, we can set the root node, in this case, gross profit. Every row in the model has a type. Let me walk you through the options as we build. Data input rows are for values that don't exist in the source data, where a planner needs to enter assumptions manually. Formula rows use an explicit expression, useful when the relationship between rows isn't a simple sum. Data source rows pull values directly from the underlying data table. These are your leaf nodes, the raw inputs. Aggregate rows perform mathematical functions such as sum, subtraction, product, division on their children automatically. No formula needed, just add the children and the parent calculates. Driver input rows are used when a row's value needs to be calculated by applying a mathematical operation against another row's value. Distribution rows are used when a total value needs to be spread across periods or dimensions. We will select Formula for gross profit. Every row we add from here is either a child, one level below the selected node, or a sibling at the same level. The Add Child and Add Sibling control is how the entire tree gets its shape. Now, let's add a formula child to gross profit and name it as net revenue. We'll configure gross profit and net revenue once the other rows are configured. Next, let's add a data source child to net revenue and name it as gross revenue. We'll then add an aggregate sibling to gross revenue and name it returns and allowances. Let's quickly add the data source children under returns and allowances. Next, we'll add COGS as an aggregate sibling to net revenue. Instead of adding each cost item one by one, we'll use bulk insert, pasting the entire list at once with the items set to add as children. This brings in the full COGS branch in a single step. The next step is to change its row type to data source and select the corresponding source rows. Now, we'll configure the net revenue and gross profit formulas. Here's the completed model. Switching to tree view, we can see the full hierarchy as a connected structure. Let's create a scenario. We'll use the simulation slider to increase brewing materials and decrease returns. Watch the change cascade. COGS and returns and allowances update, gross profit adjusts, all the way up in real time. Next, we'll change a revenue assumption, and the impact flows the other way just as fast. Let's open the Edit Node panel and go to Display. Here, we can turn on conditional formatting to color code values based on custom thresholds. For example, flagging positive variances in red and negative variances in green for costs, so outliers stand out at a glance. The Display tab also lets us control the node style. We can choose between standard, compact, or custom layouts and toggle which components appear on each node: variance, variance percent, trend sparkline, and child count. Row Model also supports collaboration at the node level. Clicking the comment icon on any node opens a dedicated thread where we can leave a comment, assign it to a specific team member, and track replies, making it easy to flag issues without leaving the model. Finally, let's look at View Details. This is the Trends view, where we can compare values against a baseline and switch between graph and table formats. This gives us a month-by-month and quarter-by-quarter breakdown of how that line item has moved over time, all without leaving the tree layout. Together, these capabilities, simulation, formatting, collaboration, and detailed trend analysis, make Row Model a lot more than just a way to structure your P&L. It's a complete workspace for building, reviewing, and refining your financial model in one place. Thanks for watching.